Hey guys, welcome back to the Stuff of Legend. My name is D'Lo, and today we have another episode of Bro Talk. This is my good friend Dusty. Dusty, say hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Today we are going to be discussing a very fun topic, something that we talk about all the time in all of our interactions. We see each other every week. Great friend.
And I'm old enough to be his dad.
But hey, this is the beauty of things like Star Wars.
Yes.
And the Stuff of Legend, not my channel, but the topics that we cover. Anybody can jump on board. You can connect with somebody based on something that is darn near timeless.
That's right.
Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Transformers, Godzilla, whatever it is that you like, we can connect.
Brings generations of people together, different cultures, different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? It's something fun and good to talk about amongst
Whomever, yeah. And it's great bringing people together and, giving brothers who would otherwise have not a whole lot in common besides family a lot to talk about.
That's right. Or when they got family they don't want to talk about, it gives them something better to talk about.
That is true.
Yes.
That is also true.
Yeah, wait till you meet mine.
Today we're going to be getting into The Last Jedi. First, a few questions so that we can get to know Dusty. How long have you been a fan of Star Wars, and what was your first experience?
Well, I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was about 7 years old. That was when The New Hope came out, 1977. New Hope, it wasn't a blockbuster opening weekend. In fact, it was probably bigger by the third weekend that it was out than it was the first weekend, if I remember right, as a kid, because it got around word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I grew up in San Jose. Anybody around from San Jose know where Century 22 is? Yeah. The third weekend Star Wars is open, we're wrapped around the theater, down the street in front of Winchester Mystery House.
Wow.
Then going south down Winchester, over the 280 bridge. And that's about where I was standing. Had to wait there for 6 hours to watch the movie.
Oh my gosh. Look at where Star Wars has gone. I mean, still, if there wasn't such thing as pre-screenings and those like Wednesday, Thursday specials, like in midnight and then the Thursday midnight, every theater in the world, if Star Wars comes out, every theater has it. It's a must.
Well, Star Wars changed the movie industry, period. I mean, if it wasn't for Star Wars, you wouldn't have the technology in movie the same as it is today. Without Star Wars, who knows where cinema and photography, sound.
Sound, Lucas Sound, the greatest audio company in the entire world.
I mean, George Lucas is a genius, but the people that he hired behind him, they just revolutionized the entire industry.
Oh my gosh.
Made it better for all of us.
And we wouldn't even have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even the Phantom Menace. Like a lot of people love the Phantom Menace. I like the Phantom Menace, but
my daughter's a huge fan of Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, I'm disowning you.
Well, see, there's a difference in nostalgia. Kids that grow up having, and that was their first Star Wars experience. Yeah. Was that one because it was geared towards kids more. I mean, Darth Maul was a little bit scarier looking, but it's not it's not more than, like, say, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, here's the funny thing. Can you believe it's already been 19 years since the Phantom Menace came out?
See, now you're making me feel old.
Well, you are old.
Yeah, I'm 25.
Quarter century. Yeah, let's get you beat. I'm only 48.
We're really close friends, guys. I mean, we connected because of these films.
That's right.
We connected because of...
And our faith.
And our faith. We go to church and we serve together, and we have a lot more than just the movies in common.
That's right.
But on a note that you guys can broadly reach, Star Wars is something we discuss every week.
Absolutely. One of these times we should do a video on the thing that we do share the most in common with, and that is our faith. But different discussion for a different time.
Different discussion for a different time. Very important, but today's topic is The Last Jedi. So I have a question. Who is your favorite character, and why? What makes them special to you?
When I told you. Yoda. I love Yoda. I mean, of course, before Yoda, we had the first Star Wars. So if we're going with the original, Darth Vader, awesome. But Yoda, his character, genius. I love how, when Luke discovers him, he thought he was just this little frog-like character that was just goofy and annoying. Mm-hmm. But it turns out he's the most powerful Jedi. And who knows how long that the Jedi have existed. And just his character, the wisdom, his concern, his devotion What Frank Oz did with that puppet was amazing. Everything about his character I appreciate. And so forever I've just identified myself as Yoda. Used him as a screen name, used my email address.
He's the image you use on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you on my channel.
That's right.
Yeah. He's one of the few people right now, well, I'm essentially a nobody, but I'm just having fun on YouTube.
Yeah, start messaging his channel because it's going to help build him up. If you're a fan or a friend of Daniel, don't be afraid to write messages because that's going to get picked up with the YouTube channel. It's going to make it more popular for average searchers to come across. What we want to do is help our friend get a bigger, better channel. And
thanks, man.
To make messages, to make likes, even dislikes. If you don't like me, give a dislike. That's fine. It's just going to make the channel more popular.
I used to say at the end of every episode I would put out, if you like it, like it. If you love it, share it with those you love. If you hate it, share it with an enemy. And or dislike it, you know? And so that's something I appreciate. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay, so as far as The Last Jedi and the new sequel trilogy, which is The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, who is your favorite character so far and why?
I like Kylo Ren because, well, number one, he's got a real backstory that you can comprehend and you know, and it's more clear why he's doing what he does. I like Rey, but her backstory is pathetic. Who are her parents? Nobody. What?
Yeah,
no.
I have a theory about that. There's a lot of people that have discussions about how they feel it's important for her to be a nobody, and there's people that think it's absolute garbage. I actually, when I saw it in the theater at first, I actually didn't think that that was the truth, and some people were like, oh, is Kylo lying? And I don't think that's the truth either. I think Kylo was telling the truth, and he's also, at the same time, wrong.
Here's the thing, if he is telling the truth, in all the Star Wars saga, she's the only main character with no backstory. Luke has a backstory. Darth Vader has a backstory. Han Solo has a backstory. Princess Leia has a backstory. Chewbacca has a backstory. Palpatine has a backstory. What about Rey? Rey, no backstory, which is disappointing.
Yeah, and I actually think that, I'll just come out and say it. Charlie from Emergency Awesome, he said that it's important for Rey to be a nobody because they were trying to repair the whole midichlorian thing. The idea was that it was genetic, it's something you're born with, and then only certain people of certain bloodlines or families or whatever get to use the Force, and the Force is not for everybody. Originally, in the original Star Wars, that was the idea, was that anybody could learn the Force. It was something that was out there, you had to believe in it, and you had to hone yourself to it, you had to become part of it as it is part of you. They're trying to repair that because they made comments. Luke said to Kylo, the mighty Skywalker bloodline, and he was teasing that, how that's kind of the idea in the prequel trilogy, is that it's kind of by family almost. And they're resetting that, saying if Rey is a nobody, then this whole new generation of Force users, Force sensitives, Jedi, whatever, it doesn't have to be by bloodline. Anybody can do that. Anybody can be part of that, and they want to make that a message for the fans so that you can have that nostalgia that was part of the original trilogy that kind of got shattered when they introduced the midichlorians. So they were kind of backpedaling in that. Now, I don't think that's the case. I actually think that...
Yeah, I'm going to take a step back and let's get back to the midichlorian conversation just for a minute because I was thinking about something here. Why would they want to try to get away from the midichlorians? Because it's now lore, as brought up from, the episode 1 and 3. The story's always been the Skywalkers and the Palpatines. Why couldn't have they used some Sith midichlorian trick to create Rey, but she became a good guy? Now you got the Palpatine is now on the switchfoot of being the good guy trying to bring Skywalker to the light. Well, Kylo Ren.
I love theories. I love going and exploring all the possibilities and seeing how it fits. If Rey turns out to be a Palpatine, I'll be stoked. If she turns out to be a Kenobi, I'll be stoked. If she turns out to be a Skywalker, I'll be kind of disappointed because it seems so obvious. It seems like it would be the next logical thing. Right. Her handing the lightsaber to Luke, even though now we know he rejects it. He doesn't really want anything to do with it.
Stupid clip.
Yeah, there's no mention of him having any kind of intimate relationship with anybody we don't know of.
Mara Jade should have been in the story.
It's been a long time since I read a Mara Jade story.
She was a great character, and they could have relived that. I mean, they could have done this new trilogy so much better. I'm surprised they gotten so far away from the original lore. Where Ben Solo was formerly Jason Solo. It's the same character, different name, but he had siblings. Rey would have been one of them. But not in this trilogy. So A lot of things that threw me off that they didn't stick with the lore. I was kind of disappointed with the direction that they're going, but
well, they did that so that it wouldn't be obvious when people already have read the books. Stepping back from being a Star Wars fan, as a cinematic experience, how was The Last Jedi for you as a movie?
Had I not known Star Wars prior to seeing Last Jedi, I would have enjoyed it even more so because it really was a good movie. I mean, as a standalone, if we didn't know the history of Luke, the action in it, the storytelling, I mean, yeah, there's some thinking moments, but I mean, overall, it was a fun movie. I liked the action. Some of the humor was good. It's a little overzealous with the humor, but for the most part, I really enjoyed it. If I had no history of Star Wars, I would have given it a 3.5 to 4 star out of 5-star rating. But on your next question,
the next question being that you are a fan of Star Wars, how did you like The Last Jedi?
1.5 stars at best. I was very disappointed with what they did with Luke Skywalker. They completely tarnished his character.
I don't like what they did with Luke. Now, granted, the last scene where he shows up and it's a forced projection of himself on the salt planet. You know, they have that cool battle and there's, you know, the red salt kicking up. It looks like the ground is bleeding.
Except you did notice that where he stepped, the salt didn't kick up.
I did notice that. Okay. So, as a fan, what were the things that you did love about The Last Jedi?
There are quite a few things. Number one, I love the opening. I love the opening. I mean, Poe Dameron, the humor. I had a good belly laugh with that. I know some people didn't like it. Well, that's bummer on you for not having a good sense of humor.
Yeah, him teasing Hux.
Yes,
it was gold.
That was gold. That was
phone call.
That was classic. I'm sorry. I really liked it. I liked it when they had the what they call the Imperial Guards in this movie. The red.
Oh, it is the Imperial Guard, isn't it?
Well, they're not Empire anymore.
You're right.
So, but you all know what we're talking about. The guys in red.
The boys in red.
The boys in red.
The red coats.
That scene was great. I mean, and completely caught me off guard when they sliced Snoke in half. I thought he was going to go through all 3 movies, but they did him in. Now, what's going to happen from there? But that was a great scene. Very memorable scene.
Best lightsaber fight probably ever.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, one of my favorite scenes with Luke Skywalker. I really liked the Guerrilla Walkers when they came up against Luke Skywalker and he walked away.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some really cool fan service there.
Yes, I really dug that part. That was great. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That part for me. I was on edge. I was like, dude, yeah, give us some Luke. Give us. I was like, he's not done. There's no way. I was like, the way they're building it. I mean, you could kind of tell there was going to be some cool reveal. The way that he walked in, they're showing him like his heel and the cloak. Yeah, I love that.
I love the big fight against the Red Imperial Guards. I know they're not Imperial, but you guys know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was like First Order.
That action scene was fantastic, and when they took out Snoke, that just blew my mind. I was not ready for that.
That really brings to light a lot of the stuff that they said in the trailer, where Luke says, "This is not going to go the way that you would think."
No.
And it didn't. When I was watching, when I walked out of that theater, that was the thing that kept playing in my head. I was like, that did not go how I thought it was going to go.
No, and that's what I relived the most in all my thoughts is what made that movie, so enjoyable for me was the action scenes, especially the fight against the Red Imperial Guard.
I liked having Chewbacca back, but he felt inconsequential. You know what I mean?
I don't like that they weren't using their traditional yak for Chewbacca. It looked like it was more corn silk than the original yak that they had for his costume. But, glad Chewbacca was around, but yeah, his character was really insignificant to the story. But so were a lot of other things, little characters and stuff like that. But Chewbacca's cool.
Porgs, the crystal foxes. A lot of inconsequential things put there for marketing. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how Chewbacca felt. Not really having a place in the story, but just being there as a co-pilot for Rey. There to roast some porgs.
It tastes like chicken.
It tastes like chicken. They don't taste like the blue milk. Came out of a giant sea cow with the udders. That was funny though.
We didn't think they were udders at first. We're like, what?
No, because they don't show you the creature first. They just jump to the boobs.
Yeah, it's like... There's some low-hanging boobs on a critter like that.
This is a Star Wars film, right? This is a family film here.
I'm telling you. It's a family video. We'll
yeah, all of a sudden this giant boob is in your face, and you're like, what? And then all of a sudden you see like milk. A hand just goes
where blue
boom,
milk comes from, but it's green.
Yeah, it was a gross scene, but it was
but it was funny.
It was funny. I
enjoyed it.
And then Luke looks up at Rey like,
what?
Yeah, what?
Got a problem?
Yeah. A little preoccupied over here. Can you give us a minute?
Exactly.
Blue milk.
Good old Farmer John.
Yeah. It's funny because in the Star Wars world, it's supposed to be banthas that blue milk comes from. However, it's kind of like mammals in our world. There's more than one kind of mammal. There's goat's milk. There's, it's like, but they have this giant sea cow.
Well, they make blue cheese from blue milk, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's where blue cheese comes from too.
Yeah.
So now you know. It was frustrating, but I also liked how they teased again the Knights of Ren. To even though they weren't in the movie and everyone was expecting them to be, we all want to see them. We expect to see them in Episode 9. But
I have a theory how they'll do that. The First Order, a lot of the characters, they're afraid of Kylo Ren. He's not a good leader. He's a terrible leader. And then Hux, they do follow him, even though he's kind of a jerk. He doesn't kill his fellow soldiers. He has more camaraderie for them. He builds them up a little bit better. And I have a feeling that he's going to come across the video that's going to actually show Kylo Ren killing Snoke. Give a reason for the First Order to go up against Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren's going to start wiping out a lot of the First Order. I do believe that Snoke comes up with this fantasy idea of bringing democracy back into the First Order, going back to the days of the Republic, convincing Rey that this is his plan, that she gets on Hux's side to go after Kylo, who then introduces the Knights of Ren to go up against the First Order. But this is all just a lie, a joke, for Hux to use Rey to defeat Kylo Ren, and then he's going to pull the rug up from underneath their feet. And then finally, we'll get Rey and Kylo Ren to finally unite, bring balance to the Force, destroy Hux, destroy the First Order, and bring back the Republic. But that's just my theory.
That would be really cool.
That's, one way they can save it.
I think there's a number of ways to go. I don't think there's any one way that will bring back balance to the Star Wars cinematic universe.
No. But my opinion is the only one that matters to me.
Oh, yeah. And that's how it should be. Every one of us should have at least one opinion.
No, I like your theories too.
I've got a number of them, and I don't think that any one of them is the one that they're going to go with necessarily. There's some that I want to see more than others for differing reasons.
Can they hear that on there?
Oh yeah, you guys can hear that. And
they're coming for me.
having seen all the Star Wars movies to date, all 9 of them, which is up to Episode 8, but including Rogue One, rank them best to worst.
My all-time favorite is Empire Strikes Back.
Empire's number 1.
Number 1. New Hope, number 2.
New Hope.
But this one's going to throw people. Rogue One, number 3.
Rogue One is number 3.
Yes. Then I would have to go with Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I like Revenge of the Sith.
Dude, it was very emotionally stirring.
Yes.
Obi-Wan and Anakin, their fight on Mustafar. Oh.
There's a lot to Revenge of the Sith that I really like. Some of it I didn't care for as much, but you're always going to find something in the Star Wars movie you're not going to care for.
Right. Revenge of the Sith is number 4.
Number 4. I do like Episode 1, Phantom Menace. I do like the second half of Episode 2 much better than the first half.
Yeah.
If the second half was the entire movie and they built around that, oh man, that'd probably be closer to number 1. But the first half of Episode 2, terrible. So between Episode 2 and Episode 1, I'm going to have to say Episode 2, then Episode 1 is the least. Empire, New Hope, Rogue, Revenge of the Sith, The Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, the one that they screwed up Luke in.
The Last Jedi.
Last Jedi, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go down to, I think it's Episode 2 and then Episode 1.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Episode 2 and Episode 1 falling at the bottom. We still have love for moments within those movies.
Oh yeah.
Lots of moments.
I like the race. The pod race was really good for Episode 1. That was about the best thing of the movie.
Yeah, I really liked. I liked the end with Qui-Gon Jinn, the battle in the.
Yeah, the Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan was pretty good. I think that that was good. That's what pretty much saved the movie there in the pod race. But You know, you had 2 scenes for the entire movie that were really good.
What needs to happen in episode 9 in order to bring balance back to the sequel trilogy?
Have Hux find out what happened to Snoke. Have him turn against Kylo Ren, and then get the First Order to go up against Kylo Ren, leaving Kylo Ren out. But bringing Rey in to defeat Kylo Ren on behalf of the First Order by convincing her they want to go back to the ways of the Republic and be a democracy once again. To convince her. Then turn against her, pull the rug out from underneath her feet once they think Kylo Ren's defeated, but he's still alive. And then he, Rey, and Kylo get together, unite the dark and the light, bring balance to the Force, take out Husk, and take out the ways of the New Order, and bring back democracy to the Republic.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool plan, man. I think it would be a lot of fun. Have some redemptive arcs as well as some twists and turns among the villains, among the good guys. Have good guys siding with bad guys, have bad guys siding with good guys, and really join the light and the dark in that way to restore order.
It's also without making Rey ever go into being a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, keeping Rey a good guy.
Yeah.
And redeeming, Kylo to a point, but he's still the dark side because you need the light and you need the dark in order to bring balance to the Force. You can't have light without dark.
Right on. The Solo movie comes out May 25th.
Yay!
As an OG fan, are you excited?
Yes.
He is excited. He's very excited.
Yes.
What would you like to see happen in this film?
Well, the Kessel Run, I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's going to be a part. I want to see how he makes modifications to the Millennium Falcon, because if you look at the scenes, the Millennium Falcon actually has a front end instead of looking like Pac-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cool things that they hinted at in the original trilogy, and that we would like to see them explore. The Kessel Run, they've already announced that a lot of the scenes are going to be on Kessel with the spice mines. They've already alluded to that story.
I'm looking forward to how they're going to portray Han Solo rescuing Chewbacca and Chewbacca giving him that bond, how that comes about. Now, we've known about it in the books, but as we all know, they do not follow any of the novels.
Yeah. They've pretty much rewritten a lot of the original novelizations so that none of it would be
canon.
Well, yeah, not for the sake of it not being canon, but for the sake of the element of surprise when they make a movie. They don't want you to know what's going to happen before it happens.
Right.
And so they decanonize and they take elements from all those stories. Like, that's why Kylo is Ben Solo. He's not Jason Solo. It's the idea of Jason Solo, and they take it and they turn it and they make it their own thing. I don't think they'll do that for an anthology like Solo, because it's something that I think will get a lot of people very, very mad.
You know what would be fun? If you actually get to see Chewbacca pull the ears off of Gundar.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Or just for fun, have Chewbacca pull the ears off of a mouse. I'm not going to say the name of the rodent for his ownership purposes.
You mean the overlords at Disney? I agree that all those things would be a wonderful thing to see in the Solo film. Now, the final question for our Bro Talk today. Do you give The Last Jedi a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I am going to go half and half. You asked me the question how I liked it. If it was a standalone, if I had no history in Star Wars, thumbs up.
As a movie.
As a movie.
As a movie.
As a movie, it's a thumbs up.
Yeah.
As canon, as what it did to canon, what it did to the history of Star Wars, thumbs down. It's how it is. It's one of those things. And
that's how a lot of people are feeling now. I feel similarly with how they did Luke. I feel similarly how it changed how I perceive Poe Dameron and certain members of the cast differently than I was excited for with The Force Awakens. But J.J. Abrams is on schedule to do Episode 9. I think that's going to be... We're going to get a fun Star Wars back. It's not going to be so depressing. I think, just like The Force Awakens was that exciting film.
I hope he can save it. I've never been a big fan of J.J. Abrams. Yes, I said it.
And that's okay. We can say things here. This is an open discussion. So thank you guys so much for watching this Bro Talk with my good friend, Dusty Wiebe.
Hey, if they're going to call you D-Lo, and I'm Dustin Wiebe, are you going to call me Dweeb?
You can call me D-Lo. I'll call you Dweeb.
Not cool, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been another episode of Bro Talk on The Stuff of Legend.